And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to the intersection of business and politics right here on Robert Cardoza Live, where I do an honest, unbiased analysis of the issues confronting you today that affect the decisions that you're going to make for both your personal and your business life. I come to you every Monday through Friday on Spreaker Radio, Roar, 1776 Radio, and MyCast Live Radio from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Also on 405 Media Radio every Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Pacific Time, in addition to countless terrestrial stations worldwide. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com for archives of all my radio and television shows. You can also access my show live right from my website each day, simply by clicking on that little icon labeled Listen Live. Email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. That's where I get all the emails that I deal with here on the show. And you can call into my show if you want to just comment or engage me in conversation about anything. Call directly into the studio at 909-545-6516. Again, that number, 909-545-6516. On today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation, the IRS loses, and I'm going to answer your emails just like I always do. Now, today, my expert contributor, John Hanson, that little old wine drinker, he's going to be talking about food and wine. And my special guest is Dr. Angelica Wagner, an expert on traumatic brain injury. And boy, she's got a lot of things to share with us. You don't want to miss it. But I want you to stand by for news. But right now, I want you to know that at 3:02 p.m. Pacific Time, it is currently 85 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, let's talk about the encapsulated news for you right off the top. It's the 10 things that you need to know for Monday, which would be right today, right? Now, your daily look at late breaking news, upcoming events, and the stories that'll be talked about all day today. First off, Northern California fire destroys 400 homes and businesses. The California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection confirms one fatality in the blaze north of San Francisco. And why ranchers lose livestock and rangeland. Wildfires decimate the Northwest rural regions as hundreds of cattle perish, grazing lands are lost, and haystacks and barns go up in flames. Then, what about the European Union and what it's doing to address refugee crises? You know, European Union interior ministers convened to discuss distributing 160,000 refugees over the next 2 years to a day after Germany temporarily reintroduced checks at its border with Austria to stem the flow of those fleeing war and persecution. And then the Egyptian forces kill Mexican tourists. Yeah, you heard me right. You know what's going to come up next, right? Well, a military police force was pursuing terrorist elements in Egypt's southwestern desert and mistakenly fired on 4 cars that turned out to be carrying a tourist group. Boy, how sad is that? Well, pressure grows on the GOP hopefuls. Donald Trump's Republican rivals are preparing for a televised debate by sharpening their attacks on the billionaire who has dominated the contest. Well, we'll see if their sharp verbs are going to be any contest to Mr. Trump's. And how Walker hopes to boost his struggling campaign. The Republican presidential candidate will call for restrictions on organized labor in the United States, seeking to replicate nationwide his successful effort as Wisconsin's governor to curb the power of unions. And all eyes are on the Kentucky clerk. Kim Davis is expected to return to work today after a judge jailed her for refusing to grant marriage licenses to same-sex couples. You know, and all of these things, we're going to talk more in depth about them later on. Did you know that tall corn crops pose a road hazard? Some roads are so sheltered by the towering plants that motorists can't see each other until just before they collide, with potentially deadly results. And Here's one for you to celebrate. Miss Georgia wins the Miss America pageant. Betty Cantrell rides an opera performance to the title in Atlantic City's Boardwalk Hall, besting 51 other competitors in the nationally televised contest. And then finally, Djokovic beats Federer for the second U.S. Open title. I have a tremendous respect for Roger and what his game is representing or presenting to me and to the other players, says the winner. You know what? The news is just, it's just phenomenal, the stuff that's going on, right? You don't want to miss these things. They're unbelievable. And at least we had some good news that was going on today, and I think that's the best part about what was happening in the marketplace today, is that it wasn't all just horror and terror and murder and mayhem and all those things. Well, you know what? Let's talk a little bit. Oh, wait a minute. I just lost my spot. There we go. Let's talk a little bit about the deadly Northern California blaze that destroys whole communities. An explosive wildfire burned largely unchecked today after incinerating hundreds of homes and devastating rural communities north of California's Napa Valley, leaving at least one person dead and sending tens of thousands fleeing down flame-lined streets. But it's not the only one. A second massive blaze less than 200 miles away destroyed 135 homes as it spread through Amador and Calaveras counties in the Sierra Nevada. That fire was 30% contained. Both fires have displaced 23,000 people. Mark Ghilarducci, director of the Governor's Office of Emergency Services, said at the news conference with Governor Jerry Brown. An elderly disabled woman who was trapped in her home died in the wildfire about 20 miles outside the famed Napa Valley. Others are missing, but officials don't yet know whether the unaccounted for are elsewhere. These fires will take lives and they will cause injuries, and we will have to do the best that we can, because we are really in a battle with nature. That nature is more powerful than we are. That's a given, Brown said. And you know what? Authorities flooded with requests for evacuation assistance could not rescue the disabled woman who called for help on Saturday evening. The flames prevented deputies from reaching her subdivision, and rescue workers found her body when the fire subsided. Lake County Sheriff Lieutenant Steve Brooks had reported on that. Her name hasn't been released, pending a notification from her relatives. Just sad, when you think about it. Now, don't go away. We're going to go on a short commercial break. When we come back, I'm going to talk about the latest, and that's the European Union fails to agree to a plan to share 120,000 refugees. And I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Please, don't go away. We'll be right back. We've got good stuff for you.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468 909-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And you know what? We were talking about the news. I told you we were going to get into the depth, and we are doing that now. The latest is the European Union fails to agree on a plan to share 120,000 refugees. The latest developments as European governments rush to cope with the huge number of people moving across Europe. Here's the thing. I can give you, it's all local time stuff that we're going to talk about. At 10:30 p.m. last night, the European Union has failed to reach an agreement on a plan to share 120,000 refugees arriving in Italy, Greece, and Hungary. Now, Luxembourg, their foreign minister, Jean Asselborn, said it says late Monday, but remember this was yesterday, after chairing a meeting of the European Union interior ministers, that it is premature for the council to take a decision today. Asselborn said that even though we are in urgent circumstances, we have to follow procedures. Now, the Czech Republic, Slovakia, and Hungary had been among the nations opposed leading up to the emergency meeting. Earlier, they rubber-stamped the plan drawn up in May to share 40,000 refugees from Greece and Italy, but not all member states are yet willing to accept the number of refugees that have been allocated to them under the plan. And then again, at 8:55 p.m. again last night, German Interior Minister Thomas de Maizière says that the European Union nations have agreed in principle on the redistribution of 160,000 refugees from Italy, Greece, and Hungary across most of the other member nations. Now, he said the tentative agreement at yesterday's meeting, the 28 European Union interior ministers had not fully laid down the quota of refugees and member states and had to take into to get to the total. Now, the European ministers had earlier approved a first batch of 32,000 refugees from Italy and Greece. He said more work should be completed when the ministers meet again on October the 8th. His French counterpart, Bernard Chazot, said there also was a push to assure a quick return of migrants who were not genuine refugees fleeing war persecution. So, we'll see what goes on with that. It just seems to be a big issue. But, one of the things we hadn't thought about was that not all of these people are refugees. A lot of them, I suppose they could be seeking political help. But, the truth is some of them just might people want to escape those countries. You can't just take them all. You got to take the ones that deserve to move out. Well, here's one for you. Egyptian forces mistakenly fire on a desert safari, killing 12. Yeah, you heard me right. Mistakenly fire on a desert safari, killing 12 people. Egyptian forces hunting militants in the country's western desert mistakenly opened fire on Mexican tourists on safari, killing 12 people and dealing a further blow to the government's efforts to project an image of stability as it fights an increasingly powerful insurgency, officials said today. Now, Egyptian officials said the group did not have permission to be in the area, but have not offered a full account of Sunday's incident, in which another 10 people were actually wounded. Mexico's President Enrique Pena Nieto condemned the attack and demanded a full investigation, and his foreign minister said survivors told officials they were fired upon by helicopters and other aircraft. By late Monday, remember that the timing is different now, Mexico's ambassador to Egypt, Jorge Alvarez Fuentes, told local media that 2 dead Mexican citizens have been identified as Luis Barajas Fernandez and Maria de Lourdes Fernandez Rubio. A third Mexican citizen, Rafael Bajarano, was confirmed dead by his sister, who said she had been informed of his death by his traveling companions. With 6 Mexicans wounded, that would at least leave 5 unaccounted for, as reports vary on whether there were 14 or 15 tourists in the group. You know what? How do you accidentally kill 12 people and just sad, right? Just sad. You know, and I want to believe it was an error, it was a mistake, but I'm starting to get a little calloused about these things. Well, here's an analysis for you. Russia gambles in Syria, ramping up involvement. In ramping up its military involvement in Syria's civil war, Russia appears to be betting that the West, horrified by the Islamic State group's spread and an escalating migrant crisis, may be willing to quietly tolerate President Bashar Assad for a while, perhaps as part of a transition. The logic is that prioritizing the fight with the jihadis means accepting Assad as the less bad option, despite his own brutal acts, and might produce a more effective and coordinated fight in the air and on the ground. It also would reorganize an awkward situation in Syria whereby the Assad regime and the United States-led coalition are actively fighting the same group but do not act like allies, as opposed to coordination and coalition maintains with the central Baghdad authorities in the parallel fight against Islamic State group in neighboring Iraq. Russia has no such complications, guaranteed. A longtime backer of Syria's government, Moscow has recently increased its military activity in Syria, sending military advisors, technicians, and security guards with the main goal of setting up an air base near the coastal town of Latakia, a stronghold of the Syrian president. There are reports that the Russians had flown in troops and modular housing units, and Israel's defense minister, Moshe Valon, says the expert Russians to the fighting, and so that's kind of what's going on in those areas. Now, I want to apologize for what you heard. We had somebody actually calling in from Austria and didn't realize that we were live on the air. So we have put him on hold, and we'll deal with that a little bit later. Well, let's talk about the police. Kentucky trooper shooting suspect is shot and killed. A Kentucky state trooper was killed in a shooting during a chase. An officer shot and killed a suspect when he refused to drop his weapon after an hours-long manhunt, police said today. Trooper Joseph Cameron Ponder, who was 31 and had been on the force less than a year, was conducting a traffic stop Sunday on Interstate 24 when the driver fled, Kentucky State Police said. A chase ensued, with the suspect stopping abruptly, causing the trooper's vehicle to make contact with the rear of the suspect's vehicle, said Trooper Jay Thomas, a state police spokesman. At that point, the suspect leaned out of the driver's side window and fired multiple rounds at the trooper's car, striking the hood, the windshield, and striking our trooper, Thomas said. Ponder was hit multiple times and was taken to a hospital where he died shortly before midnight. Now, do not go away, because when we come back from this commercial break, I'm going to talk about the IRS loses. The first case up is actually a concession from the IRS, talking about the charity can receive IRA funds from an estate. And I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away. We'll be right back.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Oh yeah, here we are, my favorite part of the show, the IRS loses. And you know what? I just can't hardly wait to tell you about these. I love this part of the show because what it does is it sends the hair standing up on the back of my neck, sends shivers up and down my spine. It's just a great part of the show. So let's get right to it. The first case, the IRS concedes. Here's the deal. A charity can receive IRA from an estate. Here's the case. An individual died owning an IRA that had his estate as its beneficiary. Now, his will also named a charity as a residual beneficiary of the estate. The estate's executor then sought to transfer the IRA to the charity to satisfy its claim as a beneficiary. So this is the IRS's ruling. The transfer to meet the terms of the will is permitted with no income tax due to the estate, even though ownership transfers of IRAs generally are not permitted. Here's a planning point for you. The transfer of the IRA to the charity saves an income tax bill. Had the IRS or the IRA been paid to the estate and the charity received other assets, the full IRA payout would be subject to income tax. And so that's kind of where the problem is with this. And so I want you to know that. Let me give you one more here while we're doing it. The IRS loses. Rejected settlement received inadequate review. Here's the case. Retired couple who owed back taxes made an offer in compromise that the IRS actually rejected. Then they made another offer in compromise. The IRS rejected it too. So they went to tax court, and this is the decision from the tax court. The IRS settlement officer rejected the second offer in compromise without considering supporting documents showing that the husband was fully disabled. The wife suffered from heart disease and diabetes. They had an adult dependent child, and they had very limited income. Instead, he simply accepted a revenue officer's unsupported note in their file saying that they could pay the tax bill. This inadequate review entitles the couple to a new hearing. And by the way, they got that new hearing and they won, and that's exactly the way it should be. I'll give you another one the IRS loses. A taxpayer may be anonymous in tax court. How do you pull that off? Well, let me tell you. An individual who filed a case in tax court sought permission to remain anonymous and asked for all court records to be sealed. Why? He had close relatives in a foreign country where kidnapping is really quite common, and one had already been kidnapped and held for ransom. He feared that if his finances were published by the court, his family would face greater risk of kidnapping. The IRS objected that a prior case brought by the individual in another court had not been sealed, so sealing the records here was kind of futile, right? So here's what the judge actually had to say. No court rule permits anonymous proceedings, but the court will use its discretion to do so here to good reason, and will seal the records as well. And that's exactly the way we want that to be, right? Absolutely. Let me give you one more. The IRS loses. Informal claims save a chance for a refund. You know, an estate at first overpaid its estimated tax bill, then filed a return claiming a large refund. But the IRS summarily rejected the refund because the estate's return was filed more than 3 years after its due date. Now, here's the estate's objection. It had informally contacted the IRS several times saying that it expected a large refund but had no delay filing because of 4 more deaths in the family. And an IRS agent had responded by sending a card saying that she would wait for the return until the date after it was actually filed. Here's what the court said. A jury could find that the contacts were informal refund claims that extended the refund deadline, so the estate's entitled to a jury trial. And that's exactly what you would expect. That's exactly what I would expect. That's just common sense, right? Well, you ever want to be a fly on the wall when you're dealing with the IRS? Well, I'm going to tell you about the IRS can't take money in a pension during a bankruptcy. Let me tell you all about it in this segment we call Inside the IRS. Oh, yeah, here we are inside the IRS. Let me tell you all about this. The IRS cannot take money in a pension during a bankruptcy. You know, an individual who was declaring bankruptcy owed $140,000 to the IRS, but had more than $200,000 in a qualified retirement plan account. The IRS previously had placed a lien on the retirement account and said that this allowed it to use the account as assets to collect the tax that was due. Here's the conflict. The federal pension law, ERISA, says funds in qualified retirement accounts are not subject to creditor claims. Taxpayers say that this keeps such funds from being included in a bankruptcy estate and beyond the reach of the IRS as a creditor, at least until that they're paid out upon retirement. But the IRS says ERISA also states that provisions do not override any other federal law and that other federal laws give the IRS the power to take any assets a taxpayer owns to settle a tax claim. So it says it can take retirement account assets to settle the tax debt, notwithstanding ERISA and the bankruptcy filing. Well, lower courts had ruled both ways on this issue. When this case actually reached the 11th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, here's the decision they made. And they found for the individual, the IRS cannot take the pension money. And here are the reasons. If the IRS position was correct, then declaring bankruptcy would expose an individual to accelerated claims. This is because it is well settled that absent bankruptcy, an IRS lien on a qualified retirement account gives the IRS no right to collect anything until the account goes into pay status, such as at retirement. If the IRS could collect the assets during the term of the bankruptcy reorganization, then it would collect sooner, or the reorganization plan might have to be rejected by the court because there would be too few assets to fund it. The IRS itself has argued the opposite way in court, saying that funds in a pension account cannot secure a tax debt. Now, when its object was to increase the amount of an unsecured debt above the applicable limits in bankruptcy filings. So here's the conclusion. ERISA means what it says, and pension assets cannot be made part of a bankruptcy estate. So the IRS cannot take them from a bankruptcy estate to settle a tax debt. And that's exactly what you'd expect. Now, do not go away. When we come back, we're going to be talking to my good friend, Dr. Angelica Wagner. She's an expert on traumatic brain injury and many, many other things. So don't go away. We'll be right back with Dr. Angelica Wagner. We'll be right back.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson & Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:33 p.m. Pacific time. It is currently 85 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. I want to tell you, I am excited about my next guest. I've known her for, I was going to say a long while, but it's actually been not that long a while, a few years. And just a magnificent lady, a self-starter, somebody that is really, really dedicated. And you know what? Let me just bring her in here the proper way and get her introduced. And we're talking to my good friend now, Dr. Angelica Wagner. Hey, Angelica, how are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome. It's always a great day to be on your show.
Well, you know what? It's always a great day when you're on my show. So you got, listen, so did you receive that notice today?
I did receive that notice today. Yes, I did.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes.
That is wonderful. So congratulations to you.
Thank you so much. It is, as you know, I studied out-of-the-box non-medical procedures in non-medical universities. And now, finally, there are these amazing universities that are actually catching up to integrative medicine and catching up to being a doctor of natural medicine. So that's the official degree, is Doctor of Natural Medicine.
Well, that's wonderful. You know what? And boy, I don't know of anybody that worked harder for a doctorate than I've watched you. So
yeah,
you know,
well, exactly. You know, because you've been there.
Oh yeah. You know what? Congratulations to you. Hopefully, you're going to go out tonight and really celebrate.
I wish I had time, because tomorrow is a really big day. Tomorrow I'm actually filming my first 1 hour class for Quantum University. And as you know, a few weeks ago, I was involved in a contest that was a global contest, and someone had graciously put my name in the hat and said, why don't you see about entering this? And so I did, just for fun. And sure enough, August 31st, I discovered at 2 o'clock in the afternoon that I was number 2 in the world on this contest. And I had a friend call me and he said, what are you doing being number 2? Get up there to number 1. So I worked really, really hard. And sure enough, at 7:30 in the evening, I made it to number 1 as to the World Summit of Integrated Medicine. So that was kind of a global thing where people all over the world that I didn't know voted on a 5-minute video. And then you were sort of put into a pool of, out of 49 people, out of the top 14, and then those 14, those of us 14, are now competing for Health Innovator of the Year globally. So rather than have a wonderful, relaxing weekend, instead of doing that, I was busy creating a PowerPoint. And tomorrow morning we're going to be filming it, and after that, it's going to be a celebration.
Well, that sounds just absolutely thrilling and exciting, and I can actually hear the excitement in your voice, and I would be disappointed if I didn't.
Oh, that's so nice of you, Robert. Yes, because finally, non-invasive, non-surgical, non-drug procedures that are, and we really truly see these discoveries with traumatic brain injury and with addiction and with autism. We see these as globally significant, and especially when we consider what our veterans are going through.
You know what? Let's hold there for just a second, Angelica, and let's talk about because this truly is significant. We're talking about non-invasive treatments to help with brain injuries. Could you kind of talk about that a little bit?
Sure, absolutely. So there are 3 specific protocols that I use. They're all non-invasive. They're literally hands-on on the scalp treatments. One does cellular repair of the lobes of the brain and the cranial nerves. And why is that significant? Well, got a football player gets a football in his head or a foot in his head, and those tissues are damaged. How are you going to heal that? Well, there actually are protocols which you can do non-invasively and by tapping and holding specific parts of the scalp on the outside, and that will heal the brain. And then there's this little tiny device that kind of looks like a pencil or a pen, and it has a little TENS machine in it, and it sends little tiny electromagnetic frequencies, and they put that on specific pressure points on the ear. And when you do that on both ears, guess what? A bridge is formed inside the brain. And that heals those neuron transmitters that are running around there scrambling and saying, how do I solve this? I can't get any rest, which is the reason that people go into an addictive mode anyway. And then the final one is this really cool modality that I teach in a day. It's called Access Consciousness. And Access Consciousness, literally, if we're talking about veterans in specific, but literally can defrag those negative war memories in 1 or 2 sessions, and they're gone. And they're gone forever. They don't come back. So it's like pushing Control-Alt-Delete with the brain.
Okay, so hang on just a second, Angelica, because what I'm having a difficult time understanding. Do you actually block their memory from that war experience? Because I don't understand how they can forget about it.
It's not a block, it's a defrag. So you hold specific pressure points on the brain, and just like in your computer, when you don't want a file, you go Control-Alt-Delete, right? Mm-hmm. Well, it's the same thing with the brain. There's very specific pressure points on the brain, and I've done this now for 6 years, that you can press that, say someone is in a panic about getting older. Well, there's a pressure point that you could hold that is linked to Chinese medicine, and it makes all the meridians in that entire body flow better so they don't get older, they get younger. There's pressure points on the brain that I call triple the money. So suppose you've got a gambler that constantly loses money, or people who've had trauma after trauma with betrayal and money loss, and you push that specific pressure point on the outside of the scalp, guess what? It rewires the brain so that the brain doesn't fall into those same patterns anymore, and the person has a different way of being. And when they have a different way of being, then the universe responds to them in a different way, and therefore their field is clear, and therefore they no longer have what they had before.
That's amazing.
So Einstein is my hero, and Einstein believed that all disease was vibrational, and that frequencies in the brain could be measured. So with that little pencil device, you literally can hold it against little parts of the ear and see where that person's brain is in distress or is in disease. And that little device goes off, makes a screaming noise if somebody's really, really in disease, and it sounds really high, and the person can hear it because it's right by their ear, and they can also see it because it has a little light meter. So you know if that person's, say, adrenal system in their mind, in their brain, is totally off just by it doing a little tiny examination with this pencil thing. Oh. And it's really fast, takes like maybe 10 minutes, and it's always accurate. If you really know where your points are, it's always accurate. People always say, how did you know that? How did you know that? I didn't, So I don't really have to take very much of an intake or a wellness survey because my devices tell me everything. And also just the examination of the brainstem. So everybody has that spot on the neck, right? That goes right from where your shoulders are to right into where your brain is, right? Mm-hmm. Well, in that little spot, it's about 6 inches. The very cool thing that I discovered was that because the cranial nerves are encased in the spinal column, on either side of that there are blood vessels, and by applying heat or applying cold to those blood vessels that are going up into the brain, you can stimulate that brain to heal. So people who come, I actually have, not quite, but we're crossing our fingers. I have one of my clients is a man who had congenital blindness, and he's now seeing his fork with his right hand. He's seeing out of his right eye.
Wow.
And he had congenital blindness since he was 27 years old, and now he's 67 years old.
Oh, my goodness. That's unbelievable.
So much of this is really easily done without drugs or surgery. So where is the last frontier? I mean, you and I were both around when John F. Kennedy said, we will put a man on the moon in 10 years, right? And we'll fund that. Where's the funding for non-invasive brain work? Where's the real point of view of, my gosh, our brain frontiers really being explored? Is this new territory that we actually can say, wow, we've got some answers here that are so amazing, because you never have to use a scalpel. You never have to use drugs. How cool is that?
That's unbelievable. Let me ask you this, Angelica. The average, what's the word I want to use, session, let's call it that. Is it a long, involved session with the electrodes and things, or is it just an hour, or what?
It's not electrodes. It's basically an hour to an hour and 15 minutes, and I can do all three protocols, or my assistants can do all three protocols in an hour and 15 minutes. We can do, if someone comes in for something very specific, say, they were raped or molested or something, so had some terrible car accident, and they just want that wiped out of their mind. We can just do a whole hour of those pressure points that delete trauma.
And now, does it require, recurring visits?
Well, if you're blind, it kind of requires a few. Yeah. But I've had autistic children speak after one session. I've had massive change in people's lives in one session, one or two. We try to keep it around 4. And unless it's something really serious that has kind of plagued someone, if it's someone who's coming in with an addiction like smoking, I can do that in a couple of hours. Okay,
so listen, why don't you give out some contact information, Angelica? We've got to go for a commercial break, and then we'll come back, and hopefully you can talk about the anatomy of addiction.
Oh, that'd be so cool. My phone number at the office is 949-754-3144, or you can email me at angelicabodytalk@gmail.com.
And we're talking to Dr. Angelica Wagner, and we'll be right back, and we're going to talk about the anatomy of addiction. You think you know all about it? You don't know anything yet. We'll be right back with Dr. Angelica Wagner. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to my good friend, Dr. Angelica Wagner. When we left on our commercial break, I had kind of hoped that I was enticing Angelica to talk about something that I know that she's really hot to trot on right now, and that's the anatomy of addiction. And Angelica, can you address that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. As you know, addiction in drugs or alcohol has been a major cause of death and degenerative disease in our society for many generations. And addiction, in fact, is genetically coded, just like eye and hair color are coded. So if a mother drinks and a father does meth, their child, of course, will have a predisposition to some kind of drug. We all know about Uncle Charlie that we avoid, the drunk Uncle Charlie that we avoid at parties. But people just say, well, it must be, arduous, painful detox, years and years of relapse. The person has to understand it's their will and then be able to stop the fight, the bad habits and all this bad stuff. And they condemn the person. And that's not the way it is at all. The reality is that the brain is overtaken by the drug, and so it doesn't matter how much willpower the person would have. They could never just overcome it just like that. So in years past, before these protocols were found to be effective, we thought that a brain was just always like that and the person was weak or couldn't do it or whatever. Not the case at all. Now we know a brain can be rewired in 90 days, and the person really, truly does not anymore want what gave them pleasure before. Like I have people who, after I work with them on cigarette smoking, say to me, I will never pick up a cigarette again as long as I live. I just can't. I have several cases of, young men, Navy vet. One of them is a Navy vet who was a meth addict for 8 years, homeless for 4 years, was incarcerated, and he is now studying to be an astrophysicist. I unscrambled his brain. And I have another man who is in his 60s who was 30 years incarcerated, 40 years heroin addict, 50 years nicotine addict. and I used the protocols on him, and he's doing his dream job now. He passed an exam with the union. He's just riding around on these big machines, and he's just doing his dream job. So what does that mean for our society? It means that the person who thinks it'll take years and years and years to heal their addiction, whatever it is, it can be done in major cases in 90 days, sometimes just in a few days. So when we are in, what are the 4 points of the anatomy of addiction? Well, the first one is to understand that every person who has an addiction originally started somewhere in traumatic brain injury. So when we look at that, rather than coming from a place of judgment or condemnation, we understand that the brain was hijacked by someone who had a trauma and is now unable to cope with it. And the second thing that happens is that in this hijacked brain, the brain has this thing called a brain reward cascade, and it is a very demanding 4-year-old who wants more and more and more of the substances to keep it happy. So the reason that people relapse into their addictions is that they rely on outside stuff. They think new drugs will stop it. They think Suboxone will stop it. They think various things will stop it. That's not the case at all. The root cause of the disease came from an emotional level. And the deeper the emotion was, the heavier the emotion was, kind of like a dump truck dumping concrete in somebody's lap, if you can sort of see that analogy. There was dense emotion there that came from this trauma. Was there shame? Was there grief? Was there sorrow? Was there humiliation? Was there anger? Was there resentment? Or even was there loneliness in this person's life? And as we start to examine these unseen vibrational frequencies that kept coming back in this person's life, and what these negative frequencies attracted more of the same frequencies that caused the trauma. So I started asking the question, how are the organs, endocrines, and body parts infected or affected as a result of these deep, dark, out-of-sight negative emotions? What's this person doing to emotionally soothe their distress behind the imbalance of their body, mind, and spirit? And were there actions that they took? Were they the same as their family? Did food help? Did gambling help? Did sex help? Did drugs help? Did alcohol help? Were uppers used to balance downers? Were outrageous or risky behaviors used? And how did the family react to this person? Who else in the family used these same tools to soothe their imbalances? What was the behavior that was being used or modeled? Was it from a family member? Was it from a peer? Did the family nucleus support this person's distress or really cause this person's distress? If every time you're in a room with Aunt Martha and she asks you why you're not married yet, that'd be cause for drinking, maybe. There's something going on there, right? So were these people forced to sleep on the street? Were they forced to be homeless? Were they forced to be incarcerated? Or was there real life purpose or direction in this person's life? Did they do activities that gave them joy? Did they do actions that contributed to their body-mind balances? And did they have dreams or passions that they wanted to accomplish while they were here? So I came to see the anatomy of addiction having 4 factors. One, that the neurotransmitters in the brain were rejecting whatever this person was doing to make themselves happy. So they had a confused, unhappy brain, not knowing how to find relief from its brain injury. Secondly, they had a genetic coding or predisposition to soothing themselves through some known or familiar behavior. Thirdly, they had some kind of relationship or support issue within the family, and that they were seen as weird or not a member of the family at all. Like, how'd you get here? Or they had sensory negative inputs or low vibrational emotional feelings that impacted on their organs, endocrines, and body parts that actually caused mutations in the brain cells over long periods of time.
Well, does it come down, Angelica, to the fact that, you hear a lot of stories about people that experience brain injuries, and the brain just sort of retrains itself in another area to do what you were not able to do before. And is that what you're helping to encourage the brain to do?
That's exactly it.
Okay.
That's exactly it. We are using a little device that helps those neuron pathways be rewarded. So when they are finding each other, it's kind of like doing a Lego game. If you kind of got the Lego off a little bit, it's not going to build a house that supports, right? Mm-hmm. The Legos further on up are going to fall sooner or later. It's the same thing with the brain. If you have neurotransmitters that are locking and shaking hands and saying, hey, howdy, how are you doing? I know what you're saying and you know what I'm saying. So this little device and those non-invasive techniques help the brain to get rewired. Well, if you have a serious heroin addiction or a serious meth addiction and your brain is finally finding pleasure without having to use those substances or have cravings, guess what happens to your life? You no longer use the stuff.
Let me ask you this. It's kind of off in a different direction, but I have a good friend that had an accident many years ago, and he had destroyed the front left lobe of his brain. So he wound up having short and long-term memory problems and vocabulary problems. Is that something that your modality can help?
Yes, because the first protocol is a cellular repair protocol that not only heals the cells, but encourages new cells to grow. And even in the brain, there are different parts of the body regrow new cells all the time. So even in your brain, in 90 days, with some encouragement, you can grow new cells. The blind man that I'm treating is literally growing a new retina. He is so excited. He literally took the bus to see a presentation that I did here at my office.
Now, can you kind of describe his situation a little bit? I just find that you talk about miracles, being able to regrow the retina and being able to see again. That's astounding.
It's astounding, but we had to start where we started, right? Mm-hmm. So the first thing I noticed was that there was in his brain stem, everybody has one, it was really crusty and hard, and it felt like you couldn't even move his head and all of that. So we used chiropractic for a few months. We used heat for a while. We did cellular repair protocols, and all of a sudden, that brainstem started to move left to right to left, up and down. Well, you do that. It's kind of like having a kink in a fire hose, right? When you've got a kink in the fire hose, guess what? No water's coming out. Yeah. It's the same thing with your brainstem. Your brainstem has nerve, lymph, and blood that has to go through it. Well, if you don't have blood going through it to your brain, guess what? Guess what the brain lives on? The brain lives on oxygen. The brain lives on sugar. The brain lives on water. It needs all those nutrients. And if you're not giving it that, or the structure, the anatomy of your body isn't able to give it that, then why would you think a drug could fix it? It's never going to fix it. The power that created the body is the power that heals the body. You just have to encourage it along.
You hit the nail right on the head. And I said this so many times before. I have a real problem with medical science for one reason and one reason only. They treat the symptoms and not the causes.
Exactly. So if you have a root cause of this person, whoever it is, had a trauma when they were 6, a trauma when they were 12, a trauma when they were 21, another one when they were 33, and then they wonder why they're having an addiction, their brain is trying to cope and is still encoded with all of those traumas. Because guess what, Robert? Your body has a memory. And by very simple biofeedback techniques, you can elicit from the body, when did this person have a trauma? Did this person have a trauma coming through the through the birth canal? Does this person have a trauma in the first 5 years of life? One of the most interesting cases I ever had was a woman, and I said, what happened to you when you were in your mother's womb when you were 6 months old? She looked at me and she said, it's odd you should ask. I was born.
Well, you know what? I hate to cut you short. We've got 30 seconds, and I want you to give out your contact information.
Oh, okay. 754-949-754-3144. AngelicaBodyTalk@gmail.com. Look me up on Angelica YouTube. There's 35 beautiful videos there you can watch.
We've been talking to my good friend, Dr. Angelica Wagner. Hey, Angelica, gee, what a wonderful, wonderful subject this is and how interesting it really is. We need to get you back in more often than 2 or 3 times a year. I just love listening to you talk about the modalities that you use to help heal the brain.
Thank you, Robert. I so love being on your program.
Well, thank you. You have a wonderful week, and congratulations on your doctorate.
Thank you so much. Have me back soon.
I sure will. Now, don't go away. When we come back, we'll be with our own little wine drinker, John Hanson, talking about food and wine. We'll be right back after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, & Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, & Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, & Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, & Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:07 p.m. Pacific time. It is currently 84 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 66 degrees. But when you talk about hot, well, my next guest, which is just a personal good friend of mine, is coming on, and he's always hot to trot. So let's get him in here the proper way and let everybody know who he is.
Who's a fool corner crying. I say, a little old wine, drink of me.
And now, from the middle of a vineyard somewhere, a man who's never met a grape he couldn't cuddle up to, our resident advanced sommelier, John Hansen.
Hey, John, welcome aboard. Good to have you here. I feel like I haven't talked to you in months, but I know that's not the case.
Hey, buddy, I miss you so much, man. It's been a while.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know where the heck the time went.
Oh, my God. It's just crazy, I tell you. But, hey, I just want to mention we may have a call-in today. One of our young couples that come in to the restaurant quite often, they had a little business venture and they wanted to promote it over there, which I said absolutely. But unfortunately, 4 o'clock wasn't rather conducive to their schedule, so they were going to try to switch their schedule up and hopefully make it on, but I haven't heard back from them, so if they do call in, we'll give them some airtime, but if not, we have a great show ahead of us, buddy, I tell you that.
Well, it sounds... So, you know what? Terrific. I had my grandkids over. They were here Friday, Saturday, and Sunday because my daughter Tiffany and her husband were celebrating their, I think it was their 14th wedding anniversary. And so, they decided to shuffle off to Seattle and leave the 2 grandkids with us. Well, I think we got the better of the deal. Joey loves to eat, and I love to cook. So you know how that worked out, right?
Of course. Well, I tell you, buddy, I had one of the experiences of a lifetime a couple of weeks ago. I went to Arizona and just had an incredible time. Now, we always talk about, of course, wine, food, wine, beer, and we really haven't talked about spirits. So we're going to broaden the show and talk about spirits later on in the second segment.
Okay.
But the first segment, I got to tell you about my weekend in Arizona. It was amazing. We got actually out there. We went to visit our good friends Jeff and Donna Snyder, and we got out there about later morning. So they picked us up at the airport. We had a early lunch at this quaint little French cafe in Arizona, right outside Scottsdale. And Ray was happy because they had foie gras on the menu. That's her favorite food in the world. So of course she had to go with that. We went a little.
Hey John, that wouldn't be called Etienne, would it?
No, it's not. It's not, but I know what you're talking about. But no, but I tell you, we had this great little bottle of Sancerre. This is what started it. And it was funny. They couldn't wait to get back to the house because they wanted me to try this wine. And they're going, we don't know, but do you like rosé? And I'm started laughing. I go, every Monday afternoon I preach rosé for summertime. And they had this rosé from Provence even, which is probably my favorite area for rosé. It's called Angel Wing. And we sat outside, and probably every Monday, at least for a couple of minutes, I talk about rosés and sitting by the pool on a nice summer day and having a glass of rosé and just enjoying the pool. Well, unfortunately, it was 105 degrees in Phoenix, Scottsdale area there. So we kind of sat in the shade with the misters on, looking at the infinity pool, looking over Pikes Peak and so forth. Beautiful view, having this incredible rosé. And I told him about LaFink that the Angel Wing was $20 a bottle. LaFink is $12 a bottle. Same area from Provence, and just as nice. And they couldn't wait to go out and get a bottle of that. It was incredible. But I tell you, we went out there because we went to a D-backs game, Diamondbacks game. Diamondbacks and the Oakland Athletics. And I don't know if you remember the show we did way back in April when baseball started. And I went down to the opener with the Padres.
Oh, yeah.
Dodgers.
Yeah.
And I was so impressed with that stadium. And then I went to the Angel game and the Dodger game, and it's such a disappointment. There's such a huge difference between a 10 or 15-year-old stadium and a 50-year-old stadium.
Oh, yeah.
But I tell you, the Angels, down in Petco, you're right outside the Gaslight District. You can go before and have incredible lunches or whatever. After the game, the nightlife right there, walking distance right out. But you can get any micro beer that you want, you go up, there's no lines. It was just amazing. The combination of venues that they had, you can eat anything you want, and every seat is lined up to home plate. The view is incredible. And then you come back to Dodgers and the Angels, and it is such a disappointment. I used to love to go to the Dodger Stadium, basically one, because we used to go to the Stadium Club. The food in the Stadium Club is amazing for a ballpark, but we used to have a nice bottle of wine. They had a great little wine list there, and watch the teams batting, the batting practice, and watch the pitchers warm up and so forth. That was part of our experience. And now what they did at Dodger Stadium, the only way you can get at the Stadium Club is that you have to be a season ticket owner, and you have to pay like something ridiculous, like an extra $1,000 just to get access to the Stadium Club, and then whatever you buy at the Stadium Club is going to cost you more. That's the only way you can get in the Stadium Club. So we had this, actually, now we're up to, we're back behind the outfield at Lasorda's Pizza having beer. So we went from having a great bottle of wine, great food, to having pizza and beer, hardly seeing the batting practice and the warm-up. So it's such a disappointment at Dodger and Angel Stadium. And one of my bucket list things is to go to every football and baseball stadium. So we went to the Diamondbacks. But I tell you, the thing you have to do is get a suite, especially if you have like a 3 or 4-year-old. And I don't know if you ever took a 3 or 4-year-old to a baseball game before.
No.
You're lucky to survive 3 innings. Your attention span is like 5 minutes, and then you want to do something else.
So I want to know, was it just the 3 of you, Avery and Raina and you?
No. He actually invited his whole family.
Oh.
We had his son, his daughter-in-law, their kids, and a couple other people. So, we had, it wasn't full, but still, and for the price difference, Bob, the suite holds 16 to 20 people, depending on the size of the suite. Mm-hmm. And basically what you pay for tickets, it's not that much of a difference. You have your own bathrooms. They're using the public bathrooms. You have a smorgasbord right in front of you. You don't have to go up and wait in the beer line for 20 minutes and miss half the game just trying to get a beer because it's so hot outside. Yeah. It is the way. It's like going to Europe and going coach instead of first class. You've got to go first class because it's going to be the most agonizing 10, 12 hours of your life if you go coach.
Oh, yeah, and if you're only going to spend, 7 or 10 days in Europe, if you go coach, you're going to be exhausted and sleeping for that 7 or 10 days.
Oh, exactly. It's crazy. And I said, if you have grandkids or even kids that are young, they're especially, you can enjoy the game. And what's great, even if you have to conduct business and enjoying the game, you can go back to the suite, do a business call. You have your own personal bathrooms. You can order a nice, we had Sonoma Couture Chardonnay for the girls. The guys were kind of doing we had like little kebabs and hot dogs and everything. And then we had chicken wings, chicken tenders for the kids that were there. It's just a nice little smorgasbord. You didn't have to get up to go get anything. All you have to do is pick up a phone and you bring extra stuff to you. As I said, if you want to just relax and come back in the suite, or else you got your own little private area watching the game with TVs right there if you want to watch a review or anything. And as I said, for the price, for a little bit more, it's well worth the experience.
John, I would never say that I thought you were spoiled.
I am. My wife is even more so than I am, but yes, I am. But I tell you, we ate so much at the game, so we went to this great little Spanish place and had tapas, a couple margaritas and that, but they had a live band, and it was a little warm, but the AC was blowing out, and we were all dancing, and in the background, you had this thunderstorm. You can hear the thunder rumbling and the lightning in the background. It was probably about, 60 miles away, but the view was just spectacular. And then we went back and we did a little gin tasting. I'll get back to that later.
Oh, that's my drink of choice, right?
Well, I know, and that's why I want to hit it, because I picked your drink of choice and my drink of choice. So we'll get to that in the second half. But the second day, Bob, we went to this it was actually a wine shop. And as you walk in, it's a wine shop. And if you go to the right, you have a wine tasting. And to the left, it's a little 10-seat restaurant and a little kitchen inside there. And it is the talk of the town. It's a 4-course menu for like $85 a person, but you have 3 choices for the first course, 4 choices for the first course, 4 choices for the second course, and 4 choices for your main course, and then 4 choices for dessert. But what was great, the concept I loved, they didn't have a wine list. You go and pick your wine in a wine shop, pay for it, and come in and just drink it there.
Well, that sounds a lot like Salt Lake City.
Oh, and also you can bring your own wine in at only $10 a corkage. But if you sit in something and you go, hey, this will go great with a Grenache, you can get up, go buy a Grenache, and bring it back in. You have a whole wine shop to pick from, not just a little wine list. You have a whole wine shop at retail price. not at restaurant.
Yeah, so the $10 corkage doesn't mean much, and it sounds like a whole lot of fun.
And as I said, if you want a particular wine, you just get up and buy it at retail and bring it back in and drink it right there. But the food was amazing. And, I mean, what a great concept. I love the concept because, and the food, I mean, my gosh. And one of, Donna, Jeff's wife, has celiac disease and is a big thing. And it's funny because you see a lot of people that, are going gluten-free. And some because they do have celiac disease, and it really upsets their dinner if they do have like a wheat or soy product. But some are just doing it for health reasons. You know, I just prefer to be gluten, so I want to do this. They totally accommodate you there as well. They change everything, and they have special items for vegans and vegetarians and stuff. There's a vegetarian item on there, but they can also make stuff vegan if you're a vegan. Well,
let's talk some more about that, John, when we come back from this commercial break. We're talking to our own little old wine drinker, John Hansen. I love this man. You know what? If you get the opportunity to meet him or to associate yourself with him, don't miss it. This guy is just terrific. But we're going to be right back with John right after these brief messages. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. Now, if that sounded a little weird, me coming back in, is because I turned my microphone off, and I'm an old guy. I forgot to turn it back on again. But I know that John has no problem turning things on.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, we talked about that one, and I hope more of these pop up. As I said, it's basically a wine shop, and there's these little restaurants that come out where you're actually buying your wine at retail and bring it in. And I said, you know, I love the concept because you can sit in there and you taste something and go, oh my God, this would be great with a Grenache, or this would be great with a Grenoble, or this would be great, whatever. You can just run out, grab a bottle at retail, and have it. And at $10 a corkage, I mean, the last time I went to the French Laundry, it was $75 a corkage. Now it's $150 a corkage.
You know, John, that is just so ridiculous.
That is ridiculous, my friend. That is just crazy. It is just crazy. But I tell you, I know you're a gin guy. And the first night we went back, and Bob, I didn't have a bottle of gin here because I'm not a gin drinker. Once in a while I have a gin tonic if that's what they have and so forth. But I want to kind of just hit on spirits very quickly because a spirit is distilled, and distillation, it concentrates on the strength and the flavors of the spirit. And gin is a spirit that's distilled from a wash of either grain, malted barley, corn, or rye. And there's three types of gin. You have London gin, which is common, which we'll really get into. Plymouth gin, which is unsweetened gin. And then you got Old Tom's gin that's really seen now. I mean, 200, 100 years ago, you've seen it. Now, I haven't seen a bottle of Old Tom's gin in any place in the last 30 years or 25 years, to tell you the truth. And why you would have it, I don't know. But London gin, and this is what blew me away this weekend. I mean, you have all these botanicals that you add for the flavor, and it's added to the base of the spirit. Juniper berry is the main ingredient for most London gins. You have orange peel, lemon peel, angelica root, cardamom, fennel, almonds. But it's basically up to the distillery. Now, we did a tasting of 6 gins, and this is what blew me away. As I said, I'm not really a gin person, but the difference between these gins were amazing, and it just enlightened me because I wasn't really a gin drinker until I did this little tasting, and it just opened Pandora's box here. We had a Plymouth gin, of course. We have Noet, which is one of the top gins. We have it at Napa Rose. The silver, I think, is like $20 a shot, and the gold is around $50 a shot. So
wow, for gin?
Top-end gin, for gin.
Wow. You know,
we had another one. It was called Monkey 47, and I'm going to elaborate on that because that's the one that just blew me away. We had the Botanist, which was in Scotland, and you actually got peat on that. It was a little peaty. It was weird. It wasn't my choice because I love Scotch, and I'm not a peaty Scotch guy. I'm more Highland and like Islay or something that's close to water where you get these really peaty stuff like Lefroy, the Talisker. So it was kind of weird for me for a gin. Usually, if I was going to drink gin, it'd be 209 or Hendrix. I usually like Hendrix.
Yeah, Hendrix is my gin of choice.
I think that's your gin choice because you get that rose. You get that rose flavor on there.
Yeah.
Is one of the botanicals, and it really shows out, and I love that flavor.
Yeah.
And then we also had an Arizona Desert Dry Gin. That was my least favorite with the Plymouth. But I kind of like the Botanist because I'm a big gin, but my favorite was always Hendrix until I tried this Monkey 47. And it's called Monkey 47 because there's 47 botanicals in here.
Wow.
And the flavors and everything. There was just layers of flavors, the aromas that was coming off this gin. It would be a shame to put this with tonic water.
John, where were you doing this gin tasting at?
This is at our friend's house. He's really a Scotch guy. They go to Scotland at least 5 times a decade, every other year, if you will. He's really a Scotch guy, but he also loves gin, and he goes, I want you to try this stuff and see the difference in gin, and it just blew me away. I mean, as I said, it's not cheap, but it comes in like a 5-milliliter bottle. It looks like the old Coors banquet bottles,
yeah.
Round barrel bottle. That's 5 liters, but the aromas and flavors that were coming off this thing was amazing. As I say, I don't have a gin bottle in my house until I tried this. Now I have a gin bottle in my house.
Oh, really? I guess I'm long overdue for a visit, I guess.
Oh, you got to try this. I'm going to get a bottle. Next time we go out, you got to try this gin. It is amazing. But the second night, I'm a Scotch guy. And I'm going to read this from a book because I love Scotch. And this is a quote from a book that Scotch, of course, is made in Scotland. Now, its flavors and quality are governed by the type of mash or cereal that is used, the malting process that is used, the peat that is used, the water is so important. And that's a big thing in beer, too. The water makes a world difference. The distillery equipment, how they do it, pot still or whatever, and the skill of the distiller and blender. And this is very much akin to qualities of fine wine and fine beer. And it is. And I love Scotch because it's so similar to beer, the making of it and stuff. And it is an art. And you can have low-end scotches and just unbelievable scotches. And the thing is, I'm emphasizing this because we were talking about Bordeaux, how they went through the roof and now they're coming back down. Scotches, vintage scotches are going through the roof. And there's actually 4 regions in Scotland. Highland, which 80% of all scotches come from. You have Islay, which is really peaty. You have Perthshire and Speyside. There's also a little area on the peninsula close to Ireland called Capeltown. There's only 2 distilleries there. But my favorite Scotch of all time has always been the 25 Macallan. And I remember when it was $250 a bottle, and it went up to $800 a bottle. Now it's getting close to $1,200 a bottle for 750 milliliter of 25 Macallan. And I actually like the 25 over the 30. Both are incredible, but the 30 is almost twice the price of the 25. And, right now the 30 is going to like $2,000 a bottle. But we did a blind tasting with the 25 and a Scotch I never heard of, a Highland Scotch. And it's funny because the distillery burned down and they rebuilt it, but all the older Scotches were gone. And we did a 30-year Glenglassaugh, and that's GLENGLASSAUGH.
Are we talking Scotch now?
We're talking Scotch.
Okay, so how would that compare? Because I'll drink Scotch, but I haven't had a large variety of them. Glenlivet and Glenfiddich are the ones that I generally would have gotten.
Well, and they're blended Scotches.
Yeah.
All right. I'm more of a single malt guy. Okay. And it ranges. I like Highland because once you get by the coast, the peatiness really comes in, and to me, it's like you're tasting Band-Aids. Really smoky, peaty, because of the process. And we can spend a whole show talking on the Scotch process, and maybe we will because it's amazing. But I love Highland because it's the most delicate. You don't get that big peat in there. But I tell you, this 30 Glenglassaugh was this rich cherry aroma, hints of cream fudge toffee on it. It was the most amazing Scotch I ever had. And he bought the last bottle at High Times.
Oh, really?
Went back to get another bottle, and they said, we can't get it anymore. It's gone. And we found a couple of bottles. It's going for $400 to $500 a bottle, which is basically a third of cost of 25 Macallan. You get this 30-year Glenglassaugh for a quart. It's a third of the price of Macallan. And it is the most amazing Scotch I ever had. And wow, what an eye!
Now, do you drink it neat or with ice?
He has the ice ball machine where it's like a block of ice. He puts this in this big heavy thing that comes into a perfect ball. And these spears are perfect with Scotch because if you put ice, it waters down the Scotch and it's not as good. These ice balls, you can have probably 5 shots of Scotch with these ice balls. That's how long it takes before these ice balls melt because it's so intense.
Wow.
So they don't liquid. The liquid, the ice cubes melt quickly, and it's funny because people go, give me like 2 cubes or 3 cubes with my Macallan or something. You put 3 cubes, by the time you walk it to the table, the cubes have melted.
Yeah.
And with these spares, they last a long time, and they don't dilute the Scotch. So if you're a Scotch drinker, you've got to get these spares because they last a long time. They don't melt, so you're not diluting your Scotch, and it keeps your Scotch cool. And that's the perfect way to drink Scotch. So, Bob, I know we don't have much time, but
you got a minute and 15 seconds.
Instead of doing a wine pick of the week, we're doing a spirit pick of the week, and we're going to do two, actually. We're going to do that Monkey 47 for you gin lovers out there, and then we're doing the 30 Glenglass Show. And I tell you, look around. There's, as I said, the distillery burnt down. There's only a few bottles out there, and for around $400 or $500 a bottle, where you're paying for or $1,200 for a 25 Macallan. This is much better, and much better than the 30 Macallan at $2,000 a bottle. That is definitely the bargain of the week, and the spirit pick of the week.
$2,000 a bottle doesn't sound like a real bargain to me.
Well, that's 30 Macallan. This is 30 Glenglass at $400 to $500 a bottle. So a fifth of what you're paying elsewhere for Macallan.
Well, it sounds to me like we need to have a spirit tasting, not a wine tasting, but a spirit tasting before dinner, and then have a wine tasting during dinner, and then maybe we'll do some port afterwards. How's that sound?
That sounds great. We may have to stay at the Casa Cardoza, though.
That works for me, John. Hey, listen, just speaking of which, make sure you give that lovely wife of yours a hug and a kiss from me. And boy, great show, John.
Oh, thank you. You do the same for myself. Say hi to Marlene. Give her a big kiss for us.
I sure will. You have a great week, and we'll talk to you next week.
Sounds great.
All right, bye-bye.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson & Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:37 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 84 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, you know that today's Monday, September the 14th, and you know what day it is? Yeah, it's somebody's birthday. Oh, yeah. You know what? And today's the birthday of Steve Gaines. And Steve was born in 1949, died in 1977. The guitarist and songwriter for the band, Leonard Skinner. Leonard Skinner. Also, here's one that's going to be a little bit of a surprise to you, and that is this fellow was born in 1949, the same time as Steve Gaines. He's also a musician who is best known as the guitarist rock band Leonard Skinner. Yep, same band, two different guys, same birthday, same year. Can you believe it? Well, here's a lady that was born in 1983, a singer and songwriter, known for her eclectic mix of various musical genres. Happy birthday, Amy Winehouse. And then finally, in 1989, this man was born, a television personality and CEO of West Coast Choppers. Happy birthday, Jesse James. Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's talk about what happened today in history. What else would you want to do? If you think about it, it's pretty interesting. September the 14th, 1812. The Napoleonic Wars. French grenadiers enter Moscow. The fire of Moscow begins as soon as Russian troops leave the city. And in 1948, groundbreaking for the United Nations headquarters in New York City took place. And then finally, here's one for you. September the 14th, 1990, Ken Griffey and his son, Ken Griffey Jr., became the first father-son duo to hit back-to-back home runs. Isn't that cool? Well, you know what? The quote for today comes from Frank Zappa. Frank says, rock journalism is people who can't write, interviewing people who can't talk, for people who can't read. That's profound, but I think that's probably pretty accurate, right? Well, let's talk about the secret daily teaching for your life. And you know that I tell you all the time, this is all about having a positive mental attitude, and that's where we're at today too. And the teaching for today is, do not listen to society's messages about diseases and aging. Negative messages do not serve you well at all. Guaranteed. You just don't want to go there. Always keep a positive mental attitude, and that'll serve you well. Well, let's talk about that Harvard business tip of the day. And the management tip today is beware of humble bragging about yourself. You know, we all want to make a good impression on other people, whether it's during a job interview, a meeting with a new client, or a first date. But our intuition about what creates a positive impression is often wrong. For example, humble bragging is a common way to respond to interview questions such as, what's your greatest weakness? Oh, I'm bad at saying no, so I end up helping other people too often. That's not the way you want to answer these things. But researchers have found that humble braggers are viewed as less likable than people who straightforwardly brag, or even people who complain. When someone humble brags, he sounds inauthentic, like he's saying something strategic instead of something honest. We evaluate other people more positively when they try to be themselves. So the best strategy is just to be honest about yourself, even if what you're being honest about is how great you are. And by the way, I believe that you probably are great. That is. Yeah. Well, it's time for those interesting but useless facts. And somehow, I've got all kinds of time sitting on my desk here today. I don't know how we got so much time left over, but you know what? Let's get with it. That'll give me more time for more of these interesting but useless facts. Did you know milk is actually considered to be a food and not a beverage? Got everything you need, folks. Everything. It's got sugar. It's got sugar. It's got protein. It's got lactose. It's got vitamins. It's got everything. It's a food. And it'll if you had just milk, you could actually live on that. How about this? Did you know that women blink nearly twice as much as men do? Not sure I know why. I don't really care either, but it is kind of an interesting fact if you think about it, that women blink twice as often or twice as much as men do. And that actually is a fact. Did you know that camels have 3 eyelids to protect themselves from blowing sand? 3 eyelids. Wow. I wonder, and I don't know, I wonder if one goes up and one goes down and then one goes up again. Who knows? But there's 3 of them. Did you know that vegetarians pass gas more, but their gas smells less? I'm cleaning this up as best as I can, but you get the idea, right? Sure. Did you know that even a long human life only adds up to about 650,000 hours? I got to figure out one of these days. I don't have time to do it now, but I got to figure out one of these days what that would be in years. 650,000 hours. How long a human life that actually would be? I'm not so sure. Did you know that to find out almost the exact temperature, listen to a cricket chirping and count the number of chirps in 1 minute. Add 50, divide by 4, and then add 40. Now, or you know what? You could just look at a thermometer. That would help. And most of us all have phones with the temperatures there, because that math problem is an extensive one. By the time you got it all figured out, the temperature would have changed. Did you know that there are approximately 2,700 different species of mosquitoes? Doesn't make any difference. They all want to suck your blood, so just keep that in mind. Do you know that the most push-ups ever performed in one day was 46,001? Yep. And I don't remember the guy's. I think the guy's name was Bob Crawford that did that. I actually met this man. Unbelievable shape this guy's in. Did you know that in 1976, the 10 billionth gallon of Coca-Cola syrup was actually produced? 10 billionth gallon back in 1976. I wonder what it would be today if I'm sure that they've got it figured out somewhere. How about this? Did you know that the sun is 330,330 times larger than the earth? Give that some thought. Doesn't look that doggone big when you're looking up at it in the daytime, does it? No. Did you know mailing an entire building has been illegal in the United States since 1916, when a man mailed a 40,000-ton brick house across Utah to avoid high freight rates? Go figure. I don't even know if that's true. I'm assuming it is because it's on this thing I've got. But how crazy is that, right? How about this one? Did you know that the Roman Catholic Church did not acknowledge that the Earth revolves around the sun until the mid-1990s? Now, you want to talk about global warming? Oh, my good Lord. Did you know that watermelons grow along the Tigris River have been known to reach as much as 275 pounds? Wow, that ought to take care of famine, right? And thirst. What a feast, if you just think about it. Did you know that 80% of arrested criminals are male? Now, there's a sad thought. 80%. Try this one on for size. The chances of making 2 holes in 1 in a round of golf are about 1 in 67 million. Yeah. However, I'll tell you, it's been done. I can't quote you or tell you who it was or when it was done, but I do know that it was done. For some reason, I remember that. I can't remember yesterday, but I can remember that. I have no idea why. How about this? Did you know that months that begin on a Sunday will always, always, always have a Friday the 13th? There's one for you. I don't know if you're superstitious, that's not a good thing, right? Yeah. Did you know that unless you have a doctor's note, it's illegal to buy ice cream after 6 p.m. in Newark, New Jersey? You talk about a backward place, for Pete's sake. Did you know that barbers are forbidden by law from shaving a man's chest in Omaha, Nebraska? I wonder how they feel about waxing. That would be a little tough, right? Yeah, I would think. Try this one on for size. Did you know that the 29,249th digit of pi is a 7? I'll give you that one. And let's end it with this. In 1976, in Los Angeles, a secretary named Janine Swift officially married a 50-pound rock in a ceremony witnessed by more than 20 people. I don't even want to make a comment on that. There's just nothing I could possibly say that would give that any credence whatsoever. So, with that, we're going to go take a short break. When we come back, we're going to have a visit from John Matthews from the Conservative Syndicate, and then we'll deal with your email. So don't go away. We'll be right back after these brief messages.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39. A complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:52 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 84 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. You talk about sunny and hot? Boy, I'll tell you what, my good buddy John Matthews is waiting in the wings, and he goes on the air in about 7 minutes and 30 seconds at the conservative syndicate.net. And when you hear me sign off, you need to go right over to the conservative syndicate.net and listen to John's show. Hey, John, what's going on your show today?
Oh, well, we got a couple things, but I think maybe we should tell your audience first that they don't have to leave where they're at. All they have to do is just click on my show. We'll be coming in right underneath you, and we'll be live. So they don't even need to come over to our site. Just click on the next show, refresh your page, and we'll be there. That's really all they have to do. Tonight, we got a couple things here. I'm on the Bernie Sanders for president bandwagon right now.
I don't believe you said that.
Well, there's a reason for it. Obviously, it's not because I want him to be president, but Bernie Sanders for president will expose the Democrat Party for what they are. The reason they can't tell us the difference between socialists and Democrats is because there is no difference. And if Joe Biden or Bernie Sanders wins the knob, that's going to be exposed. So I'm kind of hoping that happens. So we're going to talk about that tonight. I'm going to recap again. Once again, I did on your show on Thursday my experience down at the Ben Carson rally down in Anaheim last week. And we're going to talk about the GOP debate coming up on Wednesday. Now that Rick Perry's out, we're kind of speculating how many more of these people need to drop out. There's too many people still hanging around. And so we're going to talk about that. And then Karen Sigmund from Rage Against the Media will join us in our second hour. We're going to be conducting live flash mobs tonight on the air. And you want to tune in and find out how to do that. Our audience is going to be participating and calling in and telling us what they're doing. We basically go out and en masse post on media websites about, and tonight we're targeting the Planned Parenthood, the defunding of Planned Parenthood. So we're going to try something tonight and try to do it live right on the show with Karen Sigmund from Rage Against the Media. So that's what we have lined up.
Well, that sounds exciting, John. I can't hardly wait to see how it goes.
Oh, neither can I. This could be the beginning of something really good. Social media is the name of the game these days. Barack Obama's proven that. So we're gonna fight fire with fire. So that's what we've got set up. Sounds good.
Listen, I'll join you briefly after my show wraps up, and I'll tell you about my show for tomorrow night.
That'll work fine. That'll work fine. I'm looking forward to it, my friend.
Sounds good. Hey, thanks a lot, guys. We'll talk to you in a little bit. Well, okay. You know what? We're coming down to the wire, and it's time for me to answer your emails. I want you to know that this is an entertainment section of the show, and so we do everything we can to answer it as completely as we can, but we encourage you to always contact a licensed professional. They're going to save you time. They're going to save you money. They can probably save you more money than what it costs you, and they're going to give you some peace of mind. You know what? And they're required to have errors and omissions insurance, which means that if they make a mistake, they pay the piper, not you. Well, my first email today comes from Mac Hutchinson from Bartlett, Tennessee, asking about over-withholding solutions. And he says, I filled out a new Form W-4 with my employer, but it leaves me paying too much in taxes. Can I claim more withholding allowances than the form says that I'm entitled to take? Well, Mac, yes, you can. The IRS itself says that you don't have to use that Form W-4 worksheet if you use a more accurate method of figuring the number of withholding allowances that you need. You can use the number of withholding allowances determined under the alternative method rather than the number determined using that Form W-4 worksheet. Go to IRS publication 505, that's tax withholding and estimated tax, and you can claim any number of allowances that'll probably balance or properly balance your withholding with your amount of tax that you owe. And you'll find this helpful. Use the IRS withholding calculator found in the individual section of the IRS website at www.irs.gov. And you'll be glad that you did that, I promise you. And then let me give you one more. You know what? what? Yeah, let me give you one more here. From Jack Altman from Sterling Heights, Michigan, asking about automatic tax payments. It says, can I have my bank's automatic bill paying system pay my quarterly estimated taxes? Well, there's a better way to do this. Use the electronic federal tax payment system to make payments from your bank account to the IRS electronically. Visit the IRS website at www.irs.gov and click on the e-file logo. This is much better than using the bank's bill payment system, assuming the bank system would make those tax payments anyway. And why? The IRS is more likely to lose or misallocate a payment that arrives in an unfamiliar form. And if you don't designate exactly what a payment's for, as with the electronic filing tax payment system, or by writing the details on your check, the bank system is unlikely to do that for you, by the way. The IRS is free to apply it to any liability of yours that arises causing confusion if you have more than one tax debt. So use that electronic payment system. Now, I want to thank you for listening to Robert Cardoza Live at the intersection of business and politics. Robert Cardoza Live broadcasts on Spreaker Radio, Roar 1776 Radio, MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide every Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time, and on 405 Media Radio Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Pacific Time. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, where you can listen to my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com and email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. That's where I get all the emails I deal with here on my show. On my next show, my expert contributor is going to be John Hanson, that little old wine drinker, and my special guest, Angelica Wagner, talking body talk and medical groups. I encourage you to tell all of your friends about my show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.